Wow, that's pretty interesting. Now you guys have, you know, essentially two sets of monitors. You have the very popular Rocket line, and then you have the V line. So what's the difference between the two?
So it's actually expanded just a little bit because we've got classic fives now as well.
Exactly.
And, you know, I guess the way to look at the portfolio is when we were engineering the line originally, and of course, you know, these are versions. We're on kind of generations of different product. The Rocket's on a fourth generation. And, you know, I think as we looked at the portfolio, we wanted to make sure that there was something for everybody at every price point and for every kind of use case and circumstance. So, you know, I think the primary difference between the V series and, you know, I won't come at this from an engineering standpoint. I'm not the engineer in the business, but I have used all these products. And what I kind of just, the way I position this is, I would say if you're looking to set up more of a professional studio, the V series is definitely the way to go. The responsiveness is there. You've got, you know, 4s, 6s, 8s. What I love about the Rockets though is that, you know, that's kind of our technology play, right? You know, you're able to really use the graphic EQ on the back of the Rockets to really fine tune for any of your environments. And the Classic 5 is just kind of more of a, you know, that's more of a plug and play. That's, you know, that is, you need just a reliable set of near field monitors. You know, you're looking for the basics to get set up, and that's kind of what your Classic 5 is, and it's a great price point for that. So, you know, you got Classic 5, you've got a Rocket 5, which is bumped up a little bit on the technology. You can go to larger sizes with the Rocket 7 and the Rocket 8. You start talking about the V series, you've got a 4, you've got a 6, and you've got an 8. So, you know, what I always tell people about KRK is it really just depends on your use case. You know, if you feel like you need the technology and you want a more advanced EQ system, the Rocket's the way to go. If you want to just plug in and start getting going, Classic 5s are a great place to start. And if you're really trying to, you know, to boost things up and make that professional play, then, you know, I would guide people to start kind of looking at the V series. And, you know, the other thing I always want to mention to everybody is don't leave out the subs as well, because we obviously have a subs line. So we've got 8, 10s, and 12s. And, you know, I think as a younger man, what I didn't really recognize, and it's interesting because when we were producing, I started out producing in my 20s, and we had our, you know, early generation Rockets, but when it was time to like hear the bass, we would take everything over to just, you know, home stereo speakers. I think we had a pair of like, it's like, we had like 4 sets of Pioneer 12s or something like that, because we were like, we need to get bass response. This is the bass,
right,
you know.
The bass on those were pretty serious though, right? They were almost like, remember the right, the old Technique had some home speakers too that had really good bass too, right?
Correct. Yes. So that was, you know, that's how we used to do it back in the day. Throw home speakers in the trunk because, you know, we couldn't quite afford subs yet. But what I really didn't recognize is the power of having a professional sub in the studio. So, you know, now I'm pushing my V series 6s, and I've got an 8-inch sub, and, you know, it's like going from black and white into color. Sometimes, you know, you're missing out on a whole dynamic range when you don't have that bass path covered. So always want to kind of stress as well that it's always good, you know, you're gonna need to monitor and get flat response out of your monitors to get a clean mix, but don't leave the bass out. You got to have the bass as well. And you know, our bass line is unbelievable, and we're getting ready to refresh that line as well. So we've got new 8s, new 10s, and new 12s coming out with a little better response and a little bit of a different packaging. So I'm really excited about those as well. So we'll mark that as another one that we need to get over to you, because I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on our subs.